Welcome to B&B Movie Reviews. The 96 Academy Awards are right around the corner.
We're here to break down all the major categories and let you in on who we think should win and will win and take home that coveted gold statue. Stay right there. B&B is up next. We officially close out the 2023 movie year with the 96th Academy Awards telecast. And just like with our personal top 10 list of the year, award season is another excuse for film fans like ourselves to discuss and debate the medium of film. Whether our favorites are represented here or not, it's a time to celebrate the art form that we love so much. All right, Brad, the Oscars are right around the corner. We're here again.
Art is subjective. We're a couple of weirdos. These are our opinions. These are our favorites. And I always get a little anxious talking about the Academy Awards because, what does the Oscars really mean, but it's just an excuse for us to have a conversation and celebrate movies.
You're right, because like I said, some of our favorite films, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. We know what our personal top 10 list is. Some of those movies are here, some of them aren't, but like you say, it's just another excuse for us to really kind of dive deep into
But overall, I'm pretty excited about this year's Academy Awards. It's a good selection of movies.
You like the list of movies that they have?
I don't think there's really like a dog amongst the bunch.
Yeah. Let's get into it. First, we're going to talk about a couple of below-the-line categories that we both selected that we wanted to talk about. So I guess I'll go first. The one I wanted to talk about was visual effects. So the categories for visual effects, for best visual effects, we have The Creator, Godzilla -1, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, and Napoleon. All right, so best visual effects. For me, this comes down to two movies. And the reason I picked this category was because Hollywood has kind of been, it feels like there's a shift happening when it comes to like these movie budgets. And a lot of it.
Joker 2 is going to cost $200 million.
I read that. I need to see where that money's going, probably to actors' fees. Maybe
$12 million for Lady Gaga, and I think $20 million for Joaquin Phoenix.
Absolutely ridiculous. But you look at a movie like Godzilla -1, which had a reported budget of $15 million, but converted, who knows how much that is. And then The Creator was a movie that was made for like $85 million. And those movies look amazing.
Yeah.
So I think we are seeing a shift in Hollywood, hopefully. And I'm rooting for either one of those two movies, more so Godzilla -1, because that's one of my favorite movies of the year. But I think those two movies kind of show what can be done with visual effects and not have to throw so much money at it.
Yeah, I think, the odds-on favorite is Godzilla -1. And if they take home the Oscar for that, it's kind of incredible because also the director is one of the special effects folks involved, so he'll get a little gold statue, and it's a worthy win. I would love to see Godzilla -1 take it. I kind of, though, would love to see The Creator take it because I think of the way that they made that movie by going on location and just going like, look, we're going to shoot this film first, and then we're going to figure out the effects afterward. And I think that created a little bit more spontaneity with the cinematography. And I would love to see the bigger movies embrace that more organic approach.
It's so hard though, because you look at the pipeline of how these movies are made, whether it's the Marvel, DC, Star Wars movies, and all the different visual effects companies who have to bid on these contracts to get these visual effects. It seems like it's hard for them to make that shift, but I think if studios and executives start to see how these movies are made and they can apply not just the style, but that pipeline of how they make these visual effects, I'm hoping that we can see a change in that.
Yeah, you really have to plan well in advance for some of these tentpole films, and we know that that doesn't always happen. And then, we have to spread the visual effects work out to 30 houses, if they even exist in Hollywood right now.
I know, because we've heard about some of them going bankrupt, which is a whole nother issue. So let's jump to your category. I know you wanted to talk about adapted screenplay, so let's go ahead and read off the categories for that. So for best writing for adapted screenplay, we have American Fiction, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest.
I think this is one of the more challenging races of the season.
Okay.
Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan has the front position. I think, we could be seeing an Oppenheimer sweep here this year. And I wouldn't be too mad by that.
Yeah, neither
but
would I.
I think there's some incredible work happening here with Barbie and Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach.
Okay.
They were not really recognized anywhere else. Greta Gerwig, there's a lot of conversation about not getting any representation in the Best Director category.
Yeah.
And I think that is unfortunate. And if we were looking to celebrate Greta Gerwig, she was nominated in this category for Lady Bird a few years back.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for her, that was the Jordan Peele Get Out year, and
Can't be mad at that one.
Can't be mad about that.
Yeah.
So here's an opportunity to celebrate Greta Gerwig. At the same time, my own personal taste, I would love to see Cord Jefferson get it for American Fiction.
I would love to see that too. And I believe the BAFTAs have just passed. And did they win the BAFTA for Best Adapted Screenplay? I could be wrong.
Watch the BAFTAs, Bryan.
No, nobody watches the BAFTAs. But I did hear, I believe he did. But I think when it comes to adapted screenplay, you're right. It seems like Oppenheimer is the odds-on favorite. But I agree that Greta Gerwig, because she was, if you want to call it a snub, but her not being in some of the other categories to be recognized, this would be the opportunity for her.
But, Cord Jefferson is like Jordan Peele. He's the young new voice. He's like Greta Gerwig was when Lady Bird came out. American Fiction is this huge coming out party for him. And this is the type of screenplay that the Academy likes to award if we're not going full Oppenheimer this season.
If you want to break it up, I would love to see Cord Jefferson win this because I love American Fiction. I mean, I think that's such a sharp screenplay.
And some choices are made in the American Fiction adaptation.
Yes.
Everett's Erasure novel, is there in the movie, but it splinters off, and then it has to adapt the writing sequences and cinematic terms, and I think pulls it off in a great way.
Okay, so your choice to win?
Well, I think Oppenheimer, I think Christopher Nolan is going to get it. I really do.
Okay.
But I would love to see Cord Jefferson win. And we didn't even talk Zone of Interest, adapting the Martin Amis novel, also a challenging thing to do, and does gangbusters with such a powerful and disturbing narrative.
I think you're right. I mean, if I'm thinking the Academy, I think Oppenheimer is probably the odds-on favorite, who I think will win. My personal favorite, I would pick American Fiction as well. I mean, I would be rooting for Barbie because I'm rooting for Greta Gerwig, but I think personally, I would probably be going for American Fiction.
Any one of those screenplays winning, I wouldn't be mad.
No, not at all, not at all. So, yeah, those are our choices for Best Visual Effects and Adapted Screenplay. So when we return, we're going to talk about the supporting categories for actor and actress. So stay right there.
I'm not here to fire you up. If you're not already fired up, you shouldn't be in this room. Right now is your chance to be a part of a victory the world will remember forever. Victory over cancer. Today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory. A victory that is there for the taking. Grab it.
Now that was a great halftime speech. Let's go win.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Welcome back to the show. So now we're going to continue our discussion as we move over into the acting categories where we're going to discuss Best Supporting Actor and Actress. So, Brad, let's get right into this. So what we got let's start with actress. So actress in a supporting role, we have Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks in The Color Purple, America Ferrera in Barbie, Jodie Foster in Nyad, and Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers.
Imagine what a great night it would be if America Ferrera took it for Barbie.
Oh my goodness. You think she would kind of give the monologue?
I love America Ferrera, and that was the surprise nomination for me, and I was so delighted to see her there amongst these great actors. And so there's just a part of me that just delights in the idea of her getting a little gold statue, but that's not going to happen.
No.
I
mean, it feels like this category is the one that is a sure lock. But there are a lot of actresses that I like. We talked about Jodie Foster. We just finished watching Night Country.
So good.
Nyad, you can say what you want about the movie, the depiction of the characters, whether it's true or not. But Annette Bening, who we'll talk about in the next segment, but Jodie Foster, I thought was amazing and so great in that movie.
It had been a while since we had seen Jodie Foster on screen, and then now we get Nyad and True Detective. And I didn't realize how much I had missed her. And so I think she's fantastic in Nyad. I think the movie's fine, but she is perfect.
Yeah. Then we have Danielle Brooks in The Color Purple and Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer. I love Emily Blunt. Danielle Brooks, I saw The Color Purple. It was a great movie. If we wanted to award Emily Blunt for her career, we could do that here with this award. And she's great in Oppenheimer. I don't want to take anything away from the performance, but it is truly a supporting role. Very much so.
And
Very much so.
I think some of the other performances in here almost move into lead position based on their presence within the movie itself.
I can see that.
Not necessarily runtime, just like how much of the narrative they occupy.
Yeah, so I guess save the best for last. For me, my choice and who it looks like to be the favorite to win is Divine Joy Randolph. I love The Holdovers. I love her performance in that movie. It's such a very understated and subtle performance, but it's a very powerful performance.
And it's a pivoting performance. Like it's the moment in the movie, when she has a turn, the whole movie has a turn.
Yeah.
And the film kind of rests on that scene.
Yeah. So I think that's a foregone conclusion. So fingers crossed that, she wins that, because she's been winning everything. So let's see if she can just...
She's the lock, right?
Yeah.
And she would also be my personal pick. But America Ferrera, man, I love it so much.
That'd be fun. So let's go ahead and go to supporting actors. Let me go ahead and get that. Supporting actor, we have Sterling K. Brown in American Fiction, Robert De Niro in Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling in Barbie, and Mark Ruffalo in Poor Things.
So Sterling K. Brown is the surprise nomination.
Yes, and I was so happy to see him in there.
Yeah, same. And he's great in American Fiction.
Yes.
But I also think he's probably dead last as far as who's going to win.
This is the perfect example of the nomination is the win. And he's even treating it that way. I saw an interview with him that he believes Robert Downey Jr. is pretty much a lock for this category, which to me, it feels like he's the front runner for this. Robert Downey Jr., he's been out doing the glad handing and at all the events. So it feels like he really wants this, and he's been putting in the work to try to get those votes. So it feels like Robert Downey Jr. is the front runner.
He's only been nominated once before for Tropic Thunder, a very different role.
Yeah, which I think was also well deserved, though.
And I would love to see that movie get made today. And I would be extremely happy for Downey Jr. to get it for Oppenheimer. This would be, he has such an immense career, and this is a great opportunity to recognize that. But also, he's fantastic in Oppenheimer. And for my money, his part of Oppenheimer is the most engaging section of the movie.
That's very true. I agree with that. So, so if he does get it, I think it will be well deserved. I have to mention Robert De Niro because, like I said, I rewatched Killers of the Flower Moon. And again, like with most movies, when I rewatched them, I liked them a lot better, which I did enjoy this movie a lot better. But even when I saw it the first time, Robert De Niro was the one performance that really stood out, outside of Lily Gladstone. But he is just a terrifying figure in this movie. He plays it so well.
He's played some monsters in the past. He's played plenty of monsters in the past, but not a monster quite like this one. This feels like a side of Robert De Niro that we actually have not seen before, and that was one of the biggest surprises of Killers of the Flower Moon for me.
Real quick before we get out of this segment, I know you had Mark Ruffalo. What about Mark Ruffalo?
Well, Mark Ruffalo is probably my favorite performance of this group.
Yeah.
I think Mark Ruffalo is also doing something we've never seen from him. It's an extremely broad and it's an extreme role. And he embraces it, and the gusto in which he puts into that performance, I think, honestly, makes it my favorite performance of this group.
Okay.
Poor Things is just such an intense movie.
Yeah.
It like grabs hold of you and doesn't let you go. And I have not been able to forget Poor Things since I watched it.
Same.
And I want this Ruffalo. I want more of this Ruffalo.
It would be nice to see Ruffalo do more things.
Yeah, so
like
Ruffalo's my pick as my personal fave.
Yeah.
But I think Robert Downey Jr. is definitely a lock.
I agree. I think Robert Downey Jr. is a lock for this one. So, yeah, those are our thoughts on the supporting categories for actor and actress. So when we come back, we get into the lead categories for actor and actress. So stay right there.
For all of life's poison risks, there's Poison Help. Poison Help is a free 24/7 hotline
Hello, Poison Help?
that answers all of your poison questions. At home,
I might have taken too much medication.
at work,
I think I've breathed in chemical fumes.
and on the go.
They ate a mushroom. What do I do?
With expert guidance and treatment advice in over 100 languages. When poison happens, we're here for you. Just call Poison Help. 1-800-222-1222.
When I got the opportunity to get her, there wasn't no choice. I told myself, I'm gonna take custody of my daughter. It's my baby. That's what we're supposed to do as men. Take care of our home, build a foundation, you know what I'm saying? Love, our money, she's my purpose. I'm here to walk with her, hold her hand until she can walk alone. Ain't nothing like being a father in this world.
Welcome back. We're going to continue our discussion on the Oscars, the 96 Academy Awards. So we're going to talk about actor and actress in the lead category. So, Brad, all right, let's
I'm a little stressed about these two.
You're a little stressed about this one?
I don't think there are any locks in this category.
All right.
I think at one point I would have said there were locks. I don't think that's the case anymore.
That could be a good thing. I like when there's a bit of a race.
I do too, but I don't know. Now I have anxiety.
No anxiety. Let's see what we got, though. Let's see what we got for actress in a leading role. We have Annette Bening in Nyad, Lily Gladstone in Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Hüller in Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan in Maestro, and Emma Stone in Poor Things. It's funny you say that because looking at this award season, it feels like Emma Stone is kind of
moved into pole position,
yeah.
right? Like a month ago, I think we all would have said that Lily Gladstone was a lock for Killers of the Flower Moon.
You think so?
A month ago. But
okay.
Now that does not seem to be the case. I think more and more people are seeing Poor Things, and more people are having their minds blown by Poor Things. It's such a different movie than Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh.
At the same time, I think both of them have a lot on their mind. And, I think what is being said in Poor Things is extremely attractive to the moment.
I agree. To me, I think it is between Emma Stone and Lily Gladstone. Names are kind of rhyme a little bit there. But yeah, I think it's between the two of them. And the other, Carey Mulligan, I don't know, have you seen Maestro?
I have. It's good. It's good. All the movies are good.
Okay.
Yeah. It's all good.
I mean, Maestro is good.
Kelly Mulligan's great.
I think she's the standout in that movie. But in this category, I don't think she really has a chance. Annette Bening, the same. I think she's really good. We talked about her with Jodie Foster.
Annette Bening to get some recognition, though.
I mean, she's been around forever.
It's just not going to happen because Nyad just doesn't have the fire under it like some of the other films do. And there's a lot of confusion over the legitimacy of Nyad, so I just don't see that happening.
And then Sandra Hüller?
Well, Sandra Hüller's my pick as my personal favorite.
Really?
I think the work that Sandra Hüller is doing in both Anatomy of the Fall and Zone of Interest is epic.
Okay.
And Anatomy of the Fall, the whole movie rests on her and your anxieties of what ultimately happens at the climax of that movie, that's all her. If she's not, cranked to 11, that movie fails, and she's cranked to 11.
She is. I saw Anatomy of a Fall, and that movie does kind of rest on her shoulders. And
Same time, Emma Stone also cranked to 11 in a different way, and you got to respect it.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Emma Stone. It's like her performance from the beginning to the end, like her arc, her maturation through that whole process, and how she performed. I just think she's amazing in that movie.
And how unabashed it is. And
too.
Lily Gladstone, she's the emotional heart of that movie, and everyone on that production knows that.
Yeah.
And that's why they pushed her into lead, even though maybe she doesn't have as much runtime as some of these other lead actors do.
But I think it's well deserved, because rewatching that movie, I mean, she's clearly the lead actress of that. But let's get into lead actor.
Okay.
So for lead actor, we have Bradley Cooper in Maestro, Coleman Domingo in Rustin, Paul Giamatti, The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy, Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright in American Fiction. To me, this feels like a two-man race between Cillian Murphy and Paul Giamatti. I'm going to say right now, my choice will be Paul Giamatti. I mean, again, I just love The Holdovers, but it feels like this is Cillian Murphy's. I'm not going to say. Well, you're right. I'm not even going to say that, because I think Paul Giamatti has a good shot of winning. The other three, I don't really feel like they have a shot. Coleman Domingo, I mean, Rustin it's a good movie, but it just really doesn't have much traction.
I always get so excited when Coleman Domingo's on screen.
I love Coleman Domingo.
He shows up in this week's Drive Away Dolls, and the moment he pops up, you're like, Coleman Domingo, I love it. But no, it's not going to happen.
Bradley Cooper feels like he's been chasing this for years, but this just doesn't feel like it's the year for him.
He's the new Leonardo DiCaprio.
There you go.
He needs his revenue. This is not his revenue.
And I love Jeffrey Wright, and I love his performance in American Fiction. And I think he is probably third out of between.
I agree. Jeffrey Wright, for me, is my personal pick.
Okay.
This is who I would like to see win for Best Actor. I think Jeffrey Wright has not had a role quite like this one. He doesn't get lead too often, at all, really.
Yeah.
This is one of a handful of lead performances that he does.
Yeah.
But when you watch this, you go like, man, we need more Jeffrey Wright-led movies.
Yeah, I love Jeffrey Wright. He's great in that movie. But yeah, so my personal pick was Paul Giamatti. Who do you think is going to win this category? If it feels like it's a little wide open.
This is the one I'm least certain about.
Okay.
Again, I think a month ago I would have said Cillian Murphy, no problem. Paul Giamatti, though, seems like he's gained a lot of speed.
I hope you're right, because I would love to see Paul Giamatti win this. Part of me feels like Cillian Murphy is going to take this one home, but I hope Paul Giamatti can get this, because he's been around for a while.
Sweep?
Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, so those are our thoughts on the lead categories for actor and actress. So when we return, the big categories, we're going to do Best Director and then Best Picture. Stay right there.
In America, millions of families are facing hunger. After rent and power, I can get groceries. It's sad to say food comes last. Anna from Texas. The Feeding America network of food banks helps provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Together, we can end hunger. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Welcome back, and we are here to discuss our final categories for the Oscars, Best Director and Best Picture. All right, Brad, so let's get into it. Best Director, let's see who we got. We have Justine Triet for Anatomy of a Fall, Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, and Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest. So I'll say this as we get into Best Picture as well. The only movie that I haven't seen is The Zone of Interest. So it was a bit of a shock to me. Now, I don't know how good the movie is and if Jonathan Glazer...
It's very good, Bryan.
So is he worthy of Best Director in this?
I think so, absolutely. And I think it's also a director's movie.
Okay.
There are choices being made by him that I don't think another director would have made. So I would encourage you, to build up some stamina and then go watch Zone of Interest.
Yeah, I think when we get to Best Director, it's very different from last year when we had Everything Everywhere All at Once. The guys take the Daniels take that for director, where now it feels like Christopher Nolan is the front runner to kind of.
Nolan's going to win this, and I can't be mad about that. That's a phrase that we've been saying a lot, and I'll continue to say it on this episode here. But I think he makes some incredible choices as a director in this. I think, but most of those incredible choices actually happen in the screenplay, and so I think the screenplay is really driving the vision of Oppenheimer, and that's my case for him not to win, even though that's a foolish argument. I feel like Martin Scorsese's dead last. I don't think Martin Scorsese is going to win at all, and I feel like that's a shame because this is some of his finest work, in my opinion.
It's weird. It's like if he didn't get his Oscar for director, because remember he was chasing this his whole career, and for him he got it for The Departed. So I think now that he has that on his mantle, I think everything is just kind of like. I
think we're going to see the same thing happen to Killers of the Flower Moon that we saw happen with The Irishman. I don't think Killers is going to take home a single award.
Oh, so you think that's the one that's going to get shut out?
I think it's going to be shut out.
You think so?
I do.
Okay, all right. There's a couple that I think could get shut out, but Anatomy of a Fall is another one as far as director that I didn't really see that one coming. But again, when I look at the movie and the structure of that film, the performances and everything,
it's a director's movie.
It's a director's film, and I think that one is also well deserved.
She's my pick for this as far as my favorite. Like, you watch Anatomy of a Fall, you watch the fight scene as it's told in the court. And you watch Sandra Hüller own that scene, but the way that is staged and directed, it's like a chef's kiss.
And how they transition out of that.
Transitions, that's one of the best transitions I saw last year.
Yeah, so Yorgos Lanthimos, Poor Things,
amazing.
Amazing.
It's good.
I don't know if he's going to be in that conversation to win. But
that's the hard thing about this category when we talk about Greta Gerwig not finding her way into it. Greta Gerwig totally belongs in here, but then who do you take out? And I don't feel comfortable taking any of these people out.
Now that you look at it, it's hard to see who you would actually take out of this.
It's tough.
Let's transition to Best Picture,
the
big one. So we have American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. Come on, Past Lives. Let's do it.
I love seeing Past Lives there. My favorite film of the year.
Best Picture, let's go.
Celine Song, talk about not finding a place in director. I would love to have seen Celine Song there. But thankfully, she's there with Best Original Screenplay.
Yes.
So that's cool to see.
Yes. Again, we talk about sweeps. You think Oppenheimer is taking this?
Oppenheimer is the Vegas odds, right? Like the Vegas odds are pointing toward that. I think that seems pretty likely, and I wouldn't bet against it if I was putting my own money up.
So do you think these 10 films represent the year 2023 well?
Yeah, I think so.
Academy?
Like I said at the start of this episode, I think this is one of the better Academy Award races.
Okay.
I don't think there's a movie on this list that is unworthy of it. There's no Green Book here.
You're right about that, man.
Don't say it 3 times.
No,
it will reappear.
Like Beetlejuice. What's your favorite?
My favorite is Anatomy of a Fall, I think. Well, no, I said Past Lives. Past Lives is my favorite. But Past Lives is definitely not going to win.
I know. It's unfortunate to say, but it's not.
Yeah. Second place, I would go with Anatomy of a Fall.
Yeah.
But again, Oppenheimer wins. I'm not going to take to the streets.
Looking at my personal top 10 list and looking at this category, I would have to say Past Lives we know doesn't really have a shot, although that would be my choice for Best Picture. But out of the movies that do have a shot, I'm actually pulling for The Holdovers. I think that's my personal favorite. I really, really like that movie. But I agree. I think the one that will take it home will probably be Oppenheimer because that just has all the momentum going into it right now. But it's good to see Barbie in here. I think that's fun to see.
I think Barbie has a real shot at winning.
So?
I do. If we were looking at a split the vote kind of situation, where Nolan gets director and Barbie gets Best Picture. I could see that happening. I could also see that happening with Killers of the Flower Moon, maybe. I don't know.
Best Picture?
Probably not.
Okay. Yeah, that might be a long shot. All right, so those are our picks for Best Picture and Best Director. So the 96 Academy Awards will be airing on March 10th. So check it out if you are interested in movies. So, so thank you for joining us on this latest episode of B&B Movie Reviews. Come be a part of the conversation. If you have questions, suggestions, feel free to email us at bnbmoviereviews@gmail.com. And with that, we will see you at the movies.